I welcome you back to the Sweet 16 edition of Stoned Appetit. No, we're not getting young or becoming young again. We just have 16 teams left in our March Madness bracket, and it's going to be a doozy. We're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about how one local lawsuit continues to make one restaurant look like major fucking pricks and the backlash that has picked up over the weekend. Then we're going to talk about the best things we ate. Chris, I'll get your takes on all of these things. And before we go, I need to give a little listener warning. If we do end up talking about Bachelor finale tonight, or if we need to talk about Love is Blind finale 2 weeks ago, we also need to add the quiet on set to discuss because goodness gracious, that show made my skin crawl. We'll talk about all that and more. But before we do, let's talk to the team. Chris, what are you doing? How's your day?
Oh, it was great. Got to swing the wrenches with you, which was fun. But other than that, just kind of kept it pretty chill. Obviously went over to watch some of the March Madness at the studio Friday. Had a good time, tasty King of Wings. But then, yeah, really just kind of kicked it easy this weekend. Dealing with a little bit of final wedding to-do planning, and then that's it.
Hey, that doesn't sound like a productive weekend. And yeah, I got to see you a few times. I saw you swing the golf clubs. You're not nearly as bad as I thought you were. It's like one out of every four were strokes of genius. And then the other three, looked like Tiger Woods on Xanax driving a car. So, there's a
It happens.
disaster here and there. I still have them myself. So no shade thrown there. Queen Eve, tell us about your weekend. I know you were in for a doozy.
Nothing to tell, guys. I'm sorry.
Damn it. Have you seen Dune
No,
2?
I have not seen Dune 2. I haven't seen Dune 1.
Did you watch a movie at
That's right.
home?
I watched Arkansas with John
Basketball?
Malkovich,
Oh,
no, and Liam Hemsworth. It was actually pretty good. Vince Vaughn's in it.
Okay.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh, is that like some drug dealing type
Yeah,
shit?
yeah.
Or yeah, okay. Okay.
It's
I haven't
good.
watched it. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Okay, what'd you have for dinner one night during your weekend?
Nachos.
Ooh, homemade nachos?
Yeah.
Damn. How do you make homemade nachos? That might need to be You might need to bring that in for a snack.
Well,
No?
I did ground turkey, some
healthy.
beans, some salsa, and cheese.
Okay, so
And
here's a quick
now,
question.
yeah.
Chris, do you spread yours wide across the pan fully so that each nacho chip gets coverage? Or are you doing one of these mounds, Eve? I know that we're cracking the safe open. You're not usually sharing this much, but I've got to know about how you go about the spreading to make sure you're not just eating some naked chips by the end of it.
Okay. Usually it's spread out, of course, because every chip needs an equal thing. But this time, since I made everything in like a pan, I just kind of used it as like a dip sort of thing, like just doing the chips individually, so I didn't have to worry about like spreading it out in a pan. But usually it's spread out. You gotta spread it out.
Okay, cool. So as y'all can see, we're all on the same page here today. And the team actually extends further than just us three. We're having a great weekend, thanks in part because Seed Money Consulting is taking care of our books. We can rest easy knowing our taxes are filed and our futures are planned. Seed Money Consulting is a local financial advisory group to Denver. They work with folks, especially in the content creation, the hospitality industry, those that work in the cannabis. Seed Money Consulting is based out of Greenwood Village. Shahab, Sam, and the fam down there have been working with us for 2 years. We've got all of our ducks in a row, and we're excited about working with them for a year three. If you've been putting off miserable tax season, maybe you're going beyond the standard deduction, reach out to our friends at Seed Money Consulting. They'll make sure you don't leave any money on the table. And if you do have to pay the government, they will make sure that you're not giving them another interest free loan. It doesn't stop at tax season. Even after April 15th, they work with corporate companies for the October filing. And if you maybe are just trying to set up maybe a retirement fund or a school fund for your fur babies or your kids, reach out to Seed Money Consulting. They work with you not only in budgeting, but with the a la carte services available. They're great folks. They're local to you, and you can talk with them regularly so that you know that you're in good hands and that they're showing you the right way down the financial path. That's seedmoneyconsulting.com. Use the Google, do it. All right, let's dive right into it. First things first, March Madness, Chris. We're down to 16. It's been a doozy. We saw a couple more upsets last week. What are your thoughts coming out?
I mean, is this the year of bakeries? Like we've got the bakeries are firing on all cylinders. And I think it's just I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously there's some really cool individuals that you interact with more at a bakery. You kind of you interact more with the chef and the people that own the bakeries. And it just seems like bakeries have really kind of caught their stride in the Denver area.
Yeah, I feel like they all not only are they front facing, but they also see more guests than other folks, and they have
Yeah.
some very photogenic products. So in a battle on social media where quantity is king, we may see them, dominate, but there's also some other folks, like I think that's why it makes it a little bit more difficult, as we've talked about, for the chefs' tasting tables for sure. But even for the fine dining, maybe not everybody's been able to go to Hop Alley, Annette, and Lucinia in the foreseeable, in the recent past, but they are able to swoop through, grab a kick-ass croissant, maybe a breakfast sandwich. I mean, we have 4 bakeries that are remaining. Shout out to Bakery 4 and Get Rights, who are duking it out as we're in the battles right now. But we also obviously have the Funky Flame and what I'm going to call a steam wagon in Boulette, because they're fucking slaying it on the national scene, and they've been knocking the bottom out of the March Madness bracket this year as well. I mean, we could very well. I mean, last year Bakery 4 was in the finals. They could very well be there again.
Yeah, yeah. And one matchup that kind of surprised me, and I mean, obviously both of them are strong contenders, but Cart Driver and Mock Fam, like that I just feel like Cart Drivers recently they've had their Highlands location. It's been closed for a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I mean, I love Cart Driver, but I figured like Mock Fam would have a lot of steam coming into this. That one kind of surprised me.
Yeah, and it may be that more folks have, over the past couple of years have been able to attend a cart driver, whereas MacFam hasn't been around as long, so to speak. Unless some folks, if you remember them as Meta Asian Kitchen inside of Avanti, but still great food and great restaurants remain. Kick-ass bakeries duking it out today and obviously throughout the week. I was a little surprised. I think it was a jinx by me. I did not see Hop Alley going out as early as they were. And I think we could technically probably call Bodega a slight bakery. I mean, they're doing a lot of breakfast bread game. Like the early risers are really making their name here in the March Madness bracket, the Munchie Madness.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I guess, breakfast and things like that are so approachable and it's something that like, maybe you go out to eat at some of these nicer restaurants every now and then, but then it's like a weekend thing like, oh, I'm gonna go get some baked goods.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think we have some solid representation for the final 16. We obviously mentioned we have baked goods. We have some of our favorites like Kike's Red Tacos is in the hunt. We have some of obviously our favorite dumpling and returning champion in Yan Wonton. I mean, we have some kick-ass newcomers like the Easy Vegan. I believe Chef Tay even said, let's help this not restaurant win the best restaurant award. So their community has come out in droves. And then, like some casual staples, the munchies, like your King of Wings, your Blue Pans. And then you have some fine dining, like your Tavernettas and your Wolf's Tailor, which and Sapsua is kind of in that category as well.
Yeah.
So we kind of have a hodgepodge representation, different types of businesses that will be duking it out this week. Quickly, who do you think is going to, as we've seen from, poll results over the last 2 weeks and first 2 rounds, who has looked like what I'm going to call the Duke of the bracket, who has really shown out and been kicking ass without even apologizing? A Yukon, so to speak, as well.
I guess Easy Vegan really pulls off those last minute pushes. Like
Yeah.
they've got the fire and the heart to see it past the finish line. But I don't know, like based on the specific numbers, there have been some ones that have just performed really well. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Funky Flame might make a good run and Poulette, but I don't know. The Elite Eight is going to be pretty nice. Like that's
Yeah, the
going to be insane.
Starbuds region is like high-end dining experiences for the most part. Kawani, for those that haven't been, the local restaurant out of Lohi, recently opened their first location in Colorado, second nationally. First one is up in Connecticut. And what I saw is we had a large spike in followers and engagement from that part of the region. So we want to give a shout out to thank you so much to the team over at Kawani for sharing the love, and to your followers and community for embracing the challenges and the games that have unfolded. So I think we could see a very contentious Elite Eight out of the Starbuds region, with them being like something it could go high end either way. We've busted balls that Bobby and Kelly maybe were too focused doing other things. They have both leaned in mightily. I've seen both restaurant groups have played a role. So we appreciate y'all. I don't know if you're listening or if you're just following along on social, but thanks for playing along. As well as, Sapsua is a relatively new restaurant and Blue Pan is a staple. So that plus Bodega has a line wrapped around that building every morning, just like Bakery 4 and Get Rights. We could see some serious baked goods coming out of the left side of this region, and I'm not mad about it. Breakfast of champions is what we'll start calling that region. God, I'm a fucking genius. That was a good one, Eve. Clip that one. Save that.
Well
Anyways, okay.
done.
Yeah, thanks. Well, our next segment is in the exact antithesis of what we have been discussing. We were talking about good restaurants. Now I want to talk about shitty ones. Over the weekend, other folks have gotten involved. Last week, I think we used some really choice language. I assume Eve put that in the episode. Did we, Eve? Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it seems like some others have also done the same. I was brutally fucking surprised to see Molly Martin in Westward write an article about it. I was like, oh shit, a news publication's picking sides. Like the Post was just kind of giving the skinny of like what's going down.
Yeah.
Molly was like, if these two are the same, then kick my ass, because that's not fucking true. And then she obviously gave her opinion, which, is in line with kind of what we all as a community all agree. But I was like, fuck, guess he's probably not going to be at the Best of Westward Food Festival this year for Eve. But the community has shown out, the restaurants in their local neighborhood have shown out, the local publications have, come to at least, voice a true, like giving an opinion instead of just stating facts. And I couldn't applaud it more,
Yeah.
because the law firm that my neighbor Felix had retained has now dropped out. So they have found new representation to hopefully find the same result, which is a dismissed case or whatnot. But goodness gracious, this couldn't have backfired worse. I mean, and then Denver Reddit is on fucking fire.
Oh my
Someone said,
God.
pray for or check on the Denver influencers. They're probably having to buy their tacos this week. And I was dying out laughing. And then the cowards at my neighbor Felix obviously closed down their inbox, so that are their comments, so you couldn't go like belittle them or say how terrible of an organization they are. So they're trying to take every means possible to still stay in business without letting their neighbors stay in business. It's just been a whirlwind weekend, Chris. Oh, I was reading up on it like every time I was on the John. It was so fucking funny.
Yeah, shout out to Molly for taking a stance and writing that, because like
right?
that's funny how the Denver Reddit just kind of started. Like I learned through Westward or like blah blah blah, and then I love seeing some of the comments on fucking Reddit, like people saying like trade secrets, like what the fuck did they invent refried beans? And it's just like seriously though. And I mean, what trade secrets do you have? Like, I mean, get the fuck out of here. And it's just two totally different
we add our
things.
tequila first, and then we add our simple syrup, and then we add the margarita mix that's already pre-batched and you can buy at Restaurant Supply. That's what it is, Chris. It's like,
Dude,
now, if you're going to make a 64 ounce, use the gun to put some soda water in there. I mean, what trade secrets?
Could you imagine being at a law firm and all of a sudden somebody coming up to you and being like, so we got this great case for you this week, and handing them this and having to go out there and try to, like, I don't know, argue this? Like this is gonna get dismissed easily, I think. Because from what I hear, the whole non-compete and shit like that, those kind of laws aren't really they don't really hold that much water here in Colorado. And so regardless, but like I think you can easily argue that they're not the fucking same. And this is
Yeah.
stupid. And my neighbor Felix, I bet like their PR firm just fucking hates what's happening. I mean, can you imagine this weekend like side chats with people in the company being like, "Oh fuck, maybe we shouldn't have done this. Oh shit." I mean, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And yeah, I'm sure I can't remember which PR firm they use, and I'm not going to sit here and try to guess. There's a few of them in town. I'm sure if you just go click on like the most recently tagged, there's a bunch of influencers that are like, you need to get down here. There's an enchilada plate that's not to be missed. Meh. But at the same time, and then you can just back root it from there on who's been tagged. But I feel so bad for them because I bet you they were like, all right, for 2024, let's line up, what influencers we want to come in. What do y'all want to do for Cinco de Mayo? And now it's like, okay, fuck, they have burnt the bridges and the castles. Like we've alienated ourselves in the neighborhood. How are we going to come back from that? But at the same time, I mean, I'm sure
Let's
that's what
pivot
PR
to View
firms get
House.
done. That's what you get paid for. Like the last
Yeah.
3 years, all you've had to do was like masquerade, like it probably wasn't as strenuous as this. So our prayers are out to the PR firm. Drop him as a client. That's what I would recommend. Okay, so let's dive into the next thing that's trending topics. Chris, do we believe that Kate Middleton has cancer?
Yeah, she totally does.
Okay, because Fat Guy in Denver is already starting to send me conspiracies about, oh, sorry, I have the dogs here at the studio. We had some work being done at the house.
Oh,
Um,
she doesn't? He says she doesn't?
they don't think that video is real, Chris. And I mean, like the world. Like there's a 96% chance that it was AI generated of her using wearing a 7-year-old sweater from when she made a different announcement. And did you notice that Prince William was not there next to her? So it's just her sitting on a bench being like, I've got cancer. And so now I'm back fully into the conspiracy theory pool, and I fucking hate it because as we just talked about with the Denver food Reddit, I don't need to be spending that much time on Reddit. I need to be out there eating lunch and being a civilized member of the community, touching grass and touching cast iron. I don't need to be fucking digging through internet sleuths, AI tests, and things of that nature. Fuck.
There's no conspiracy. Eve, what are your thoughts?
Chris is sticking up for his people because he lived over there. He's obviously old and white, so he's a friend of the
I've just read
monarch.
news, not fucking Instagrams.
Oh, okay. I'm sure
So
Rachel Maddow's doing the heavy lifting for the monarch. Eve, what do you think?
I think she's sick, and that's why she's been incognito. I believe her, and it's not the video of her on the bench is real. That's real. So
Okay.
shut
Okay.
up,
Hey,
people.
I
That's
apologize for
dumb.
being a dick about the first case,
thanks,
but it
Eve.
does.
I love this. Me and Eve are in super aligned. We're super agreeable right here.
Oh, y'all
Love
like
it.
when like just people go and like, colonize the world. That shouldn't surprise me at all. She's from fucking Maine. She was one of the first over here. She's probably a plant. All right. Well, we'll keep close watch. We'll have Kate watch 2024 going forward. Every time there's anything of consequence,
No, we
I'm gonna
won't.
bring it up.
I'm over it. It's done.
It does make me wonder where the fuck was her husband in a time like that?
Why would he be in the video? It's her
I think,
diagnosis.
Because
yeah,
like he should be with her if she's having to make a life changing announcement.
fr-
I
I
mean,
don't
they can be
know.
seen together
from
at the fucking farmers market, but he can't sit with her as she addresses her nation, their
fr-
people.
from what I gathered is like she wanted to do it by herself because she wanted to, show up when people are saying that like she's using all this AI generated stuff. So I think she just like they just wanted it to be her. And I don't think they ran this through the chain of command at the monarchy and she just went rogue and like did this live video.
I mean, agree to disagree, I
It
suppose. I
wasn't a
mean, you're
live
saying
video
she
though,
did
was it?
rogue, she had a rogue announcement, is what you're saying?
No, like they
God
had they
damn it.
had discussed it, but everything when you're trying to do those announcements, like you gotta file that shit up through the monarchy and then they approve of, it's like giving a
Yeah.
statement. You get it approved. But apparently like she wanted it to be her own and this is how she wanted to do it.
I think it was run through something. I don't think she totally went totally rogue. I feel like maybe she said, I want to do it myself, but it was like a very precise, short, this is what's going on, shot well. Like, it was definitely planned out.
I mean, Chris is carrying the water for the royal family. I knew it the whole. He's a spy. He's a spy.
Yeah, that's it.
He cried when the queen died, and that's okay.
I saw it. I mean, that's fine. A lot of
How
people
could you
did.
not cry when the queen
Why would I
died? She was
cry?
the
I don't
He
know
was
queen.
her.
112, and she ruined the lives of generations of people across the globe.
I'm only
May she
kidding.
rot in
I didn't
hell.
cry when the queen died. Anyways, in other news, there's more local news that I just found out about this past week. And that's it. Vine Street Pub plans to reopen after 4 years of not. And dude, I
Yeah,
gotta
I
hand
can't
it
believe
to
they've kept that building.
me either. I have no idea what's going on, but apparently, like they're doing like one of their big kind of interview hiring sprees. So who knows when they will officially reopen? But Eve, we got to get you down there. They have really good fries. They do hand cut fries, and they are fucking fantastic. And if there's like a wait, they'll just hand you a basket of fries. You get to eat. Love it.
If they're still doing that, which I hope they do. What if they change it? What if they took away the fries?
I don't think they can do that, but it's
No.
cash only.
I'd
Oh,
see. I think
okay.
they're going to have to go away from the cash only model. I think that was what was holding them back from what I was told from somebody or another. I don't know if that's true, but I think
That
that was
place
the
was
hiccup.
always packed.
I know it's something about like on the business side, they were like, we have to figure
Yeah.
out how we want to go do about that going forward. I don't know if that's the case, so don't hold it to me. They will still have an ATM with $1 service charge and chicken wings, Eve, the size of your forearm. They do the big battering and then the saucing, so it's got like a double dredge, so it's got those crunchy outsides. It's closer to a Popeyes than it is to like a flash fry at like a Rocky Top Tavern or something like that, where it's a little bit like a flaky or like a skin that's like a crispier skin. It's got that breading on it, and then they sauce it so they come out looking like a fucking hammer of buffaloes. They're delightful.
And their
I'm not a big
burgers
beer
are pretty
person.
damn good.
Yeah, I'm not a big beer person, but I'll fuck up their menu of food. And they were really crunchy people, always kind, always kind. So we'll have to get even there for a first run. Oh, for the record, for those that are wondering why we're not doing this episode from Bucky's, it's Chris's fault. So anyway, that will be next week. We'll drop that for our April draft. If you have any ill will about the fact we're not at Bucky's, shoot us a DM. Leave us a 5-star review and say something mean about Chris on the page.
I can't wait to get those. God damn it.
Chris, you're not going to get anything. Anybody going to give a shit about that? Before we dive into the last segment of the day, let's do best things we ate. What'd you eat last week that was worth the damn? We heard about Eve's nachos. Chris, what do you have?
I really didn't eat out much, but I did get a loaf of bread and a biscuit from Funky Flame this weekend. And I mean, I don't know, their biscuits are different than those traditional biscuits that you're used to, like the buttermilk. These are kind of have more of that like sourdough type feel to them, and they're absolutely delicious. Like I can't recommend that enough. And their bread, I turned that thing into a tuna melt the other night, and it was fucking fantastic.
That does sound really good. Good job on that. If you're going to cook from home, using ingredients from much better chefs to make it makes it so much easier. Um, I was out and about fairly hard last weekend. I'm not going to lie to you. Thursday night was, I think, one of those nights I went to Molotov or Misfit Kitchen for a kind of like a chopped style kitchen challenge. Did we talk about that last week, Eve? Okay,
Nope.
so Molotov was celebrating a 1 year anniversary. So Chef Bo, chef that did our pop-up dinner last summer that we did with Meraki Tops Flour, he versus Chef Rico, who also did our dinner. Bo is over at Molotov, and Rico runs the Misfit Kitchen inside Middleman Bar, two staples in the fine dining scene along Colfax Avenue. Keep Colfax weird. And they sure as fuck did it in this competition. Chris, you want to hear what was in their like mystery box that they had to use over three courses? They had a venison tenderloin. They had a 500-gram caviar tin. They had cheese whiz, Funyuns, blue Kool-Aid, and what was it, like cognac or makers? I think it was cognac. So they had to make 3 drinks and 3 dishes apiece. It was interesting to say the least. The team over at Misfits came out victorious, and it may be because they literally seared this venison tenderloin beautifully, and then they shaved black truffles over the fucking top of them. So like, and they were just like, here it is, eat this. And I was like, yeah, this is fucking good. You could use a spoon to cut through it. It's so perfectly cooked. What they also were able to do is kind of like change some of those ingredients up a little bit. I had a lettuce wrap that had Funyuns and Cheese Whiz topped with caviar. So like that creamy fattiness of that like fake cheese paired with the saltiness of the briny caviar, and then the salty, crunchy Funyun all wrapped up. It was fucking interesting. It was really interesting. Oh, they also had to use Spam. And then so we had like a leftover pizza dish, but they used flatbreads with the cheese whiz and the Spam. And then they team from Misfit made a gazpacho as the tomato sauce. So you use it kind of like as a piece of bread to like scoop your food. It was fucking fun. It was a really good time. It was a little bit chaotic, but at the same time, I kind of expect those types of evenings when partying with Bo and Rico. It was a good time. Chef Charlie fucking killed it. Chef Ricardo killed it. Celeste and Andrew behind the bar of each respected restaurant. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time, and I didn't overconsume. Isn't that cool? I was able to drive home.
Yeah, that's not
Proud
how
of
you
you.
say.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
I'm not
The
sure if
bar's
that's
set really
the
low here on this podcast. I was able to
I'm not
drive
sure if
home
that's
after
the
such a party.
dial, if that's the
Yeah, I was
correct
keeping
like
it.
measure.
I kept it casual that night because I went really fucking hard in the paint for basketball. I watched 4 days of basketball. It's exhausting work. I know, but I got to eat Hey Kiddo Saturday night and stream the Oregon game from their restaurant. That bok choy, I was thinking about it a little bit after. I accidentally left it on the table, my to-go box. I may have overconsumed that night and gotten an Uber home. It was fucking delicious. I know that Chris has had his battles every time I take him there, but
I've only been once.
I think Hey Kiddo's in my top 10 right now. It's fucking slap worthy. And the vibe is, it's a lot of fun, and it's like, it's casual yet refined. It's quickly climbing on me, and every time I'm there, I have an enjoyable experience. But the bouginess did not stop. I had family here, and Chris. I went to Jacques over at Brixton's sister spot. They opened a brunch. They have tater tots that are like Lincoln logs, and they put creme fraiche and caviar on top of it. Holy fuck! Holy fuck! It was
Are they
delicious.
crunchy and soft, or
They're crunchy
like
on the
what's
outside, soft in the middle. You could give a little two-finger joy, and then you put a little bit of that caviar on top for a bubble, sweet, sweet, sour, sour. Like they have them on either end, just like a little. It's almost like a hand ski on either end of the tater log. It's fucking awesome. And then they're pretty big. They're like the size of a finger. So you eat a few of those, and you don't necessarily need more. But they have hash. They've got breakfast Sammys, Benedict's, and mini espresso shots, which are a shot of Grey Goose and a shot of cold brew shaken up and then served to you as a little starter for the beginning of your course. It's a wonderful little aperitif. I thoroughly recommend. It is not cheap though. Just a forewarning. We did family meal there with my actual family. So fair warning. It's kind of like a bougier upscale, but it fucking slapped. Holy cow, it was delicious. I thoroughly recommend it. You can see all the review about that restaurant on the Instagram. I'll post that one because those are actually really good pictures. The Hey Kiddo ones were a little blurry.
those were a little blurry. I saw those via text, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I was a little buzzed up. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up the food stuff this week. Cannabis content is going to start unfolding next week for all of April. We have cannabis guests coming through to promote events going on across the metro. We have more brands coming on to talk about soft launches, new products. It's going to be a doozy. This Thursday, it's all ice cream, baby. Okay, so this ice cream episode really is great. Y'all wait for Thursday. I don't know if I've laughed that hard with a guest in a minute. so serious yet so funny at the same
Oh, he's
time.
great.
I thought he was a real breath of fresh air. I
The
appreciate Mr. Rose.
the different voices and narration was great.
I know him walking us through the story of how his mom doesn't approve of his products may have been the hardest I've laughed in some time. So we have a taste test coming up on Thursday. And don't forget, next Monday, we are going to Bucky's. Put that in your
Are
fucking
we?
dossiers. I mean, Eve, I'm ready
Oh,
right
it's not
now.
my fault. It's not my fault. Let's
I mean, it's
dial
fine.
that back.
We'll do it as our April draft will be from Bucky's. So it'll be fun. Yeah, before we go, Chris, I watched that Quiet on Set show and it made me brutally uncomfortable. Like it's only 4 parts. Each one's about
Okay.
an hour. The first 2 are about like assault, like verbal harassment, sexual harassment on set by that fat fuck. And then the second 2 start talking about a different situation, which occurred with Drake Bell from Drake and Josh and somebody who was arrested for crimes against a minor. And it's just so graphic in terms of just like what everyone's like, yeah, like this guy was terrible. And it's just, it's heartbreaking. And we were a little bit older than these shows that, were mainly plagued by them. But I vaguely remember, like I remember Amanda Bynes on all that in her very young age. But once she got her own show and all that, we were a little bit older. Chris, you were about 10 years too old.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember Nickelodeon like Wild and Crazy Kids and the game shows and that kind of
Mark
stuff.
Summers is on there for like the first episode and then he gets the fuck out of there. He was like, yeah, the sliming was gross. And then every time they start bringing up sexual innuendos, it's like the parents of these kids that were in these shows were like, who the fuck is writing this? And if you did that, you would get like blackballed from the set. And then it was like, and your kid would be cast out of the show. And it's just baffling. And then how that big, maybe was his name Dan? Sam?
Yes, Dan Schneider is the piece of
Dan
shit.
Schneider. Yeah, Dan Schneider. I was like, I knew it was, there was an S in there. He was the piece of shit that treated like other staffers terribly. And then other staffers were pedophiles, like multiple pedophiles worked underneath him, and all of which eventually got arrested. But Nickelodeon had no concern at all. So like nobody in that thing came out smelling like roses. It's gut wrenching, but you want to watch it because like all that was a show that was formed a little bit of our youth, like Keenan and Kel. Who loves orange soda? I love orange soda. Kel loves orange soda. But like as we got older, it seems like they preyed upon the cast of these. It's really fucking rough. It's a hard watch, but one that I would thoroughly recommend just so that you could know a little bit about it. Okay, well, I need y'all to watch Quiet on Set so we can talk about it in detail because it's quite literally exactly for our generation and the tail end of Chris's. But it really, I mean, it's hurt. It hurts your tummy just watching it. So prayers up for them, prayers up to the princess, prayers up to the PR firm that has to handle my neighbor Felix. I hope everyone has a kick-ass week. We have a great episode on Thursday. We're doing another recording, another interview on Wednesday. We've got 4 days of March Madness action. And next week we have the Elite Eight and Final Four, but we go to Bucky's Monday, barring anything crazy. Chris, did I miss anything?
I think you nailed it.
Until next episode, stay high, stay hungry.
Sweet 16.
Tuna melt.
Chris, we just talked about the Nickelodeon thing, and you want to say Sweet 16? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Cheers.